Welcome to the PowerCat Podcast, the original K-State sports show. Here's your host, Tim Fitzgerald.
Welcome to the PowerCat Podcast, a weirdly timed one. Ryan Gilbert looks sleepy. I look sleepy. We're not.
I look that bad?
Yeah, you look a little bit less peppy than usual.
I think that's a you problem.
Yeah. It's
around you.
Getting together in the morning makes us both sad. This is the PowerCat Podcast. We're going to talk football on this edition of the show. Of course, Ryan Gilbert and Cole Carmody did a basketball show live on Monday night, Tuesday night. I don't even know what night of the week it is or day. What day is it? It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday morning right now. It's not nighttime.
In January. Yes, I know where we are now. They did a live basketball show following the blowout in Bloomington, and you can go check that out. It's up. But today we're going to talk about football. Gills, after last night's performance, I'm kind of glad I get to talk about football.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Weird? Yeah. This fan base is in a weird spot right now, man. They're just kind of all over the place. I've never seen anything like this. It's really strange, but we'll see what our VIPs at GoPowercat have on their minds, because that's how this podcast works. They get to ask the questions, you get to listen, and if you'd like to be on the other end of that equation, if you're not a VIP, make sure you become one right now. 75% off at GoPowercat and across the 24/7 Sports Network. It's our annual Black Friday sale. And if you're not subscribing, it's a perfect time. A lot of great questions bouncing around about K-State athletics, and we're doing our best to drill down on all of those at GoPowercat. If you enjoy our podcasts, other free content, particularly video, go check out our VIP content for our subscribers only. 75% off. Gil, should we get going here? Let's go.
Let's do it.
Here's the first one. Hold on. I got to find my, there we go. My eyes aren't working today either. This could be interesting. What was your most frustrating moment on Saturday? Travel, playing the game, called by a ref, press conference. El Camino Cat. What an interesting question.
Put you on the spot a little bit. You don't have time to read these beforehand, Fitz. But I do.
Well, why don't you go first then?
Okay. Thank you. So if you remember, Fitz, I jotted this down. 2:25 left at its own 32-yard line in the fourth quarter. You know where I'm going here.
Yeah.
Kansas State had a chance to win this game right then and there. Utah might get the ball back without timeouts with a few seconds left, but Kansas State, the way that its offense was playing, why can you not pick up 3 yards there? I mean, yeah. I get it. Your wideout depth is thin, but maybe utilize some tight ends more. I know that K-State's tight ends have dropped a lot of passes, but Fitz, coming into this year, that was supposed to be the deepest room on the team. They're all healthy. They're all still out there. So it was 3 yards. It'd be one thing if it was a much longer attempt and, all right, go ahead and give it back to Utah. But you said, here you go, Utah. You have a chance to at least tie this game and in all likelihood go out and take the lead, because the defense at that point in the game, I don't think any of us had faith that, respectfully, I think Joe Klanderman's group didn't play abysmal, but you're out of gas. You're shorthanded in the altitude. That was not a good decision in hindsight, of course, because Utah scored a touchdown. In hindsight, it wasn't a good decision to give the ball back. I don't have much of an issue with passing short of the sticks. I can't believe I'm saying that here, Fitz. That's the first time ever. You cut the clock moving. You got a complete pass. I'm okay with that. You set yourself up for 4th and 3. Go take advantage. Go win that game right there. Don't hand the ball back to Utah and say, let's give our defense a chance. When I understand, I think there were probably 4 punts in that game from Kansas State's defensive force. That's decent, but as this one wore on, giving the ball back to Utah late when you had a chance to ice it, that's my most frustrating moment, Fitz.
Good one. Really good. It strikes me that Chris Kleiman being a defensive guy and being involved in kind of the day-to-day of the defense more than the offense, that he has too much confidence in his defense. We've seen this before, haven't we? That almost like this, don't worry, the defense has got this, and they ain't got it. That was a dreadful performance from the defense for everything that went right for the offense. I think, I don't know if frustrating, but the most notable moment for me was probably when they threw the flag for the guy, when the guys were still coming off the field. I was immediately so confused by what I was watching. There had clearly been the act, according to the rule of substituting over by the bench. People were coming on and off or looking to do so, which activates the entire rule, and the umpire standing over the ball, and all of a sudden he's not, while the players were still on the field when he's supposed to let them clear, and there's plenty of time on the clock for them to let them clear, which shouldn't matter. K-State has the right to run these guys off, and they were jogging off like they're supposed to. So I was just so confused. And that was the only moment where I felt like it was truly sketchy. You know, there were some other calls, that the late flag on Lincoln Cure, they're judgment calls, and I thought they were kind of sketchy. But I guess that was it. However, maybe the most, I guess I got your answer now. I mean, I was really frustrated by that, but I think early in the game, the spots of the ball immediately caught my attention, and I was like, what? There was Avery got tackled, and I think the guy kept putting the ball where the knee was, not where the ball is. I mean, when he went down, he was clearly at the first down marker, and he marks him a yard short. I think just immediately I thought, what is going on? Now, I got to be honest. I saw him do that to Utah. I don't think it was on such dramatic plays as K-State, but he was marking everything short. I guess it was hard to pick out one thing because that officiating crew sucked. They didn't manage the game. It was just a poorly officiated. I don't know. I just felt like the game was too big for them. I thought the officials panicked in a way. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I don't know. It was just a very frustrating day. But the venue was beautiful.
I want to change my answer, actually.
Oh, here we go.
I had to spend, what was that?
Oh, boy, here we go.
3 nights with Tim Fitzgerald. That is frustrating. That's gruesome. That's unusual punishment to be around somebody like that for so long.
Next question is from Claws Out, Balls Out. He's got a rough life. Was our success running the ball on the O-line, running back scheme, all of the above? PFS saying it wasn't the O-line, but the running backs barely get touched on those explosive runs. I don't even know what PFF's doing anymore. Okay, if you don't know what we're talking about, Gills, what did PFF rank K-State's offensive line performance in this game?
So real quick, if you don't know anything about PFF, a player or any grade, if you play one snap and you don't do anything, you get a grade of 60, right? That is their average grade, okay? K-State's offensive line, it was like 59. So a little below average is what K-State's offensive line was. It rated as the 4th worst grade For the run blocking, I guess it's not the O-line. The run blocking grade was the 4th worst of the season.
How?
It doesn't make sense.
And to go with that, I'm told, I didn't look at PFF directly. This is Pro Football Focus. They rank it. They go through every game, break it down. We use a lot of that information, the raw statistics on the site. But yeah, they thought this was a mid-level offensive line performance for K-State, maybe a little below average. And they ranked this the second best defensive performance of the season for Utah. They gave up 47 points.
Against a team that just scored 14 against Oklahoma State.
Cheers, PFF. I can't explain it. I don't know. How is that even possible? I think getting back to your question, it was everyone. Absolutely everyone. I think that game shows the power of buy-in and commitment, particularly when the scheme is right, if that makes sense. What is the total team effort here was amazing. You don't do that without every single element of the process being bought in from the coaches. And, it sounds like it was a climate understanding what Utah was running and what the weakness of that was. And then they saw kind of how they do it and realized, yeah, this A-gap power is going to work. And they practice it all week. You talk about simplifying something, just go block the guy in front of you and move him. And then it's up to the running backs to read that and get through the hole, make one guy miss. And it happened over and over and over. And that's the whole process working. What's odd about it is it was so wildly successful. It's frustrating that we haven't seen these moments earlier in the season. But still remarkable what we saw. Absolutely remarkable. Matched only by the defense managing to give up that many points. And honestly, as you mentioned with your answer, the previous question, a coaching staff that didn't have faith in the offense to go pick up 3 yards on a day when they were picking up 12 yards a carry. It doesn't add up to me.
I understand going back to that. If you run it and you get stopped short, oh boy, fans would be irate if you don't put the ball through the air in that situation. But 3 yards that's 36 inches. I mean, the way the offense was rolling, come on. But to this one, man, when you have red paint, you paint the barn red. You do what you do when you're given with. I completely botched that, Fitz. You know what I'm saying? Kansas State was maybe trying to be a little too fancy, too creative when you just don't have that star power. And now against Utah, okay, there is no Jace, there is no Dylan. I mean, the offense does not have what it needs to use that trickery, right? Every once in a while, you saw Quay Moss out there on a sweep or whatever. That's great. But you had Deron Tibbs, who is a proven power conference wideout. I think we can agree there. Aside from that, Bradley played like a dozen snaps, and that was pretty much it. With respect to the other wideouts, you had to run the football, and Kansas State committed to that. The mindset, the approach, and Fitz, you touched on the buy-in that this team believed it could do that. So Jackson played great. The O-line played great, but just the commitment to just saying, all right, we are not, or Kansas State's not going to be able to do much outside with its wideouts down the field. Run the ball. And you mentioned the schematics that Chris Kleiman and his coaching staff get paid a lot of money to figure out. They figured that out against Utah.
Very good. That's a good answer.
Thanks.
You're good in the morning.
Really?
Oh, that sounded horrible. Here we go. Fervent Purple. Regarding Chris Kleiman's postgame press conference, no, we don't know why. Can you enlighten us? I don't know why. Did you understand that part of his?
Nope, me neither. Next question.
I think one of the things we need to be careful here with is, well, first of all, I'll be blunt. He shouldn't have lost his emotions in that moment. He shouldn't have. But it happens. I mean, I've lost my temper at times I shouldn't have. Well, starting at childbirth when I came out screaming. But yeah, I mean, as Big B said, he was hijacked by his emotions. And I don't think he was thinking clearly. I think it was just a word jumble. Every little thing that has made him mad all of a sudden came spilling out. And maybe it was a reference to all the fans calling for his firing. I'm not sure. And as I said on my Power Talk yesterday, or God, what was it, Monday, about this topic, the answer, don't pay attention to social media, is ridiculous. Because they have to be on social media for recruiting. Their family's on social media. It permeates the air. You might go somewhere and someone's, hey, did you see what so-and-so said about you? Just that kind of stuff. I know because I hear it once in a while. Like, no, I didn't, because I've got him muted because whatever. But I just think he got into his emotions and they ruled the day. And I know this, he's not mad at the fans in general. He's mad at that very small subsect who have been very, very animated in their desire to have him removed, along with Gene Taylor and everyone else that gets in their way. I don't know. I guess it's got to be that. I love how some fans decided there was a secret going around that they're not privy to. There isn't. I really can't account for everything he said in that, because he just lost he wasn't in the right place. And my belief is it was because it had been building up, but the frustrations and how his team lost, and knowing he doesn't want to be the guy that berates the officials, because what people don't realize is there's that thin black and white striped line that if you go out and publicly berate officials, be prepared for the consequences from every other officiating crew that comes through, because that happens. They stand up for each other, even when the performance by the other crew was awful. It's kind of the same concept. So, yeah, I don't know what. I'm just telling you. Just Gills pointed out immediately, to see that in person, to be that close because of the setup. I mean, we were closer to him at that post game than we are any time at a home game. I mean,
yeah,
that setup, folks, at K-State for the Tuesday. It's going to always be Tuesday in my mind. Monday press conference, that table. Now raise that up about 6 inches was the platform, and put our chairs about 3 feet in front of that. Right?
Yep.
There's just enough move. I mean, he was right there in front of us. So it read differently, and it was a little bit hard to absorb in the moment. I think you might agree with that, Gills. Go ahead and answer. I don't know. I'm babbling.
Well, to circle back to the officiating, Chris Kleiman, his mind was moving a million miles an hour. That's evidenced in his post-game press conference. Look at him. a lot of stuff was going through his mind. So the officiating, right, just in that regard, maybe Chris Kleiman believed it was awful during the game. Maybe I don't think Chris Kleiman was able to fully grasp some of those calls and the way that in K-State fans' eyes they mounted. He's trying to coach a football game. He's emotional. There's a lot of things juggling that he has to juggle throughout a game, right? So I don't have a great answer, though, to the question, but I mentioned the officiating. That's just another layer of he wasn't able, like Big B said, he was emotionally, correct me, Fitz. Big B said he was what?
Kidnapped.
Yeah, like he just lost control for a little bit. And that happens to humans, right? For right or wrong, good or bad. It happened. It is what it is. Like I said on the Insiders, you don't have to have a strong opinion. You can, but you don't have to. But I would like to plug Fitz, our post-game mailbag I do after every game on the site. It's available for the VIPs. And if you didn't hear early on, Fitz mentioned you can get 75% off.
Get out.
It's our greatest deal of the year right here, right? Question came in, and my response, it was this exact question. I try not to kind of have an overlap here. I want these to be fresh and new, but I said, great question. I don't have an answer for you, though. I discussed this with members of the K-State beat afterwards, and none of us knew. Probably the best guess would be the uproar from the fan base. Getting a win in Salt Lake City would have really silenced the doubters. That's just speculation, though. So I will stand by that, and that's my best guess, but I don't – who knows, really, because it was Kellis, Robinette of the Star, asked, what's got you like this, for lack of a better term, to Kleiman? And Kleiman just said, Said, And me and you, Fitz, we don't exactly know. We think we know, but we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever been in a fight or like lost your cool with a buddy and you just blurt out F you or
like to you? I do that all the time, yeah.
You do, actually. It's a really interesting employee-employer relationship we have. Or, you said, I hate you, or, whatever. And you didn't mean any of that. You just, it was an emotional moment. Yeah. I wish he had started Monday's press conference differently. I think he needed to.
In what way?
He should have said something. He should have. Look, I know it was all, based in defending his program and his players and himself. But some things were said, even if not intended, you need to roll back. And it's entirely possible he doesn't remember everything he said in that moment. And isn't going to go back and watch it. Imagine if a fight with a spouse was televised or recorded by cameras, and you can go back and review how you did. Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. I ain't got no spouse, Fitz. What are you talking about?
Sometimes your air pressure gets low and bunch of hot air.
How many times a player scored a touchdown? Walk us through what was going through your mind there. And they're like, I don't really remember it. I blacked out. Like, that's probably how Chris Kleiman would feel at that press conference. And he doesn't want to watch it back either. So, yeah, you bring up a good point.
I know some people are thinking, oh, Fitz is defending Kleiman in this. I'm really not.
No, you guys are best friends. You never ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know why he's friends with me. I do ask hard questions. And actually, I'll be honest, I think I'm a good person to do it because it's less defensive maybe in how he'll respond, except about an onside kick. Yeah, this has just been let's say it's been a shitty season. It just has. And I think he saw that as an opportunity to save some dignity, redemption, show that what a level his team could play at. That progress has been made, which I think is something a lot of people have missed. And then they lost. And in a moment, that was all gone. And he probably knew also he should have gone for it on that fourth down. Even though he didn't know what fourth down I was talking about at the end of the game.
Again, emotionally hijacked.
Right. I don't know, man. It was weird. It was weird. It was like when in the hotel room, when you start walking around with your towel on, and that's all you got on. And I'm like, what is going on? Am I in like a Greek bath or something? What's up with this dude? You know what I mean? You know why. Wildcat Pilot 88. I feel like I'm saying a lot of words on this podcast and not saying a damn thing. Should we expect players exuding high energy to be reserved for rivalry games and ranked opponents? Too much expect in every game. Well, it has been for this group. I mean, let's be honest. Whether it was the coaches motivating them or the team motivating itself, this isn't a team that like creates its own emotion other than, oh darn, it's not going our way. And I don't know. Gills, is it possible removing Dylan Edwards from the locker room was almost freeing for everyone? I'm not sure, but I know this. This is a no-win situation. I mean, if they go down and quietly surrender their season, people are mad. If they recover in any way and have a big win, which they missed out on, or even recover to the point of going 6-6, which we expect them to do, but you never know. Then people say, why didn't you start this way? So when you start bad, there's no gratification to the fan base as a general. Yeah, I imagine there were plenty of KU fans last year that were furious when KU had that long losing streak and then just started ripping through everyone else in the league and winning. Why didn't you do this all year? Where was this? That's sometimes the mystery of coaching, when it clicks and when it doesn't click for players. And yeah, but to get to your question, Wildcat Pilot, no, it's not too much to ask. That has been the biggest break here with this team and this program, is these inconsistencies in effort, this disdain for laying it all out there, because that's what people expect. That kind of lay it on the line, full commitment to the cause. That's what they want. So that's just kind of a K-State DNA thing. You can't control your effort. The ball bounces funny. The shots go in. The passes get caught by the wind and get blown away, from the receiver. There's a lot going on that you can't exactly manage, but you can manage how hard you play. And I think Pilot has drilled down and hit the exact issue. Why can't you do this all the time? But that becomes a problem because you did it. You see what I'm saying? It's like,
set the highest standard for yourself.
Yeah, but this is only a argument that is inspired by actually putting in the effort and improving as the season went. You're going to have to admit, when you look back, unless K-State loses to Colorado, that they didn't stop working, the coaches or the players. And there was no adequate way to salvage the season. But when you're in a bad circumstance, you do the best possible. And I think he felt like winning that game would have been the best indication of where the program is at that moment, not that crappy start. And I can't wait till we get a little time between the start of the season and asking about what went wrong, because when you're in the middle of the season, it's kind of hard to assess all of that. And yeah, I mean, I had someone asking me why aren't you demanding answers about the first 4 games at every press conference? I'm like, I don't know what we're supposed to ask. We've asked a lot of that. The answers are the same at this point, and it's not the moment.
No,
there's nothing. We've been there. We'll get to it at the end of the year when we kind of do the autopsy, which is a pretty good description of what this season needs. Let's go smother it. Thought skills.
Yeah, like right now, Chris Kleiman's not dwelling on the first 4 games. He is preparing for Colorado. That's the mindset. And we talk about a coach with so many emotions after the loss to Utah. Well, it's maybe not the best example, but hey, he's focusing on what's going on right now. He's not looking back at, well, maybe looking back at the way the season's gone, maybe that played a part in his reaction. I don't know. My answer here,
I think it did actually, but
yeah. So maybe I'm contradicting. I don't know. But the Kleiman clunker, here we go. When you lose a game like Tulane or Houston last year, Oklahoma State, that's a clunker, even though you won.
Yep.
If you go out there and there's just a dropped ball or Avery's pass gets tipped or your special teams has a bad play, or if it, I don't want to say fluky, but if it's just one of those games, that's one thing. But when you have the effort, the buy-in, the what we saw in Stillwater, Fitz, that's the big problem here. That's what happens too much, I guess you should say, for lack of a better term. And when you see something 7 days later in Salt Lake City that is a absolute 180 from that, the effort could not have been different. I would love anybody listening here, take out Ryan Davis. Give us one play that you said, damn, that is not worth wearing a K-State jersey. Those plays in Stillwater happen time and again. K-State played a team effort in Salt Lake, and that is what's so, I think the word frustrating gets used too much. It is frustrating, but it's alarming. Fitz, why can't you do that game in and game out? Is it you're a favorite and you don't have the underdog mentality and you can't find that next year? I don't know, but you find it when you're an underdog. Channel that every freaking game. That's a preview to the overtime question, by the way. Every frigging game.
I'm with you, man. I will be interested down the road, because college football evolves, whether it's schematically or systematically, and what's happening here. And it's evolving very quickly now. And when we look back and diagnose what coaches had success and why and how did that work, I think we're going to find that what works with this group is completely different than the foundations of most coaches. Their old stuff won't work on these guys in terms of how you manage them psychologically. They're motivated more by money because they can get it. But to get that kind of buy-in, game in and game out, it's going to be notable. Things are off. I don't know what's going on here. It'll be notable to see what coaches had success and how they went about it. Because coaching's turned into psychology at a higher level than it's ever been. This generation's confusing. They're laid back, but they're not. I don't know. Yeah. We need to get down the road with a lot of this, to be real honest. We're just too close to the fire right now to understand the cause. Yep. Buyers DBM. Doc, do you think Avery would be more likely to transfer if Matt Wells is no longer the OC? If so, do you retain him to try to keep Avery? It's an interesting question. Well, if Avery leaves, he's going to have a new OC. That's the one I keep coming back to. Don't want a different OC? Well, I think, maybe Matt Wells stays. Then I get to report on the great riots of 2026 because there'll be a meltdown. It's interesting. Avery's not one to throw anyone under the bus or even give you indications. You're almost at an advantage here because Avery doesn't say bad stuff. He doesn't give you even that, like, yeah, it was a crappy call. He gives you none of that. Honestly, I don't know. But I'd imagine Chris Kleiman will know that, Avery will say, yeah, this is working. This is what I want. I don't want. I honestly don't know. I don't know. It's been unfair to him to have all these different offensive coordinators, one every year, but it also makes him learn a bunch of different football. Maybe prepares him better. But I think there probably will be a different OC. I don't know. And part of that might be the trickle down of all these jobs that are open, that Matt Wells might end up landing one of the jobs that is created by someone moving in this current, like Jim Mora is apparently going from UConn to CSU. I wouldn't expect Matt Wells to be a candidate at UConn, but that's what I'm saying. A secondary leg of this. So maybe that'll take care of itself. I'm not sure. You know what? I'm kind of over that though. I believe if Avery thinks he needs to move on or wants to stay, Avery needs to do what's best for Avery, which every kid does. But every kid doesn't have a ceiling that leads to playing in the NFL. And I still believe Avery has that ceiling, and he's not getting there by fault of his own or his coaches or the whole system. Maybe he's just not capable of fine-tuning himself, and I'm judging his ceiling completely wrong. But we'll see how he does. We'll see what he does at the end of the season. That's a lot of words again.
We're going long, but
yep.
One thing that you cannot deny is Matt Wells is an asset to a program. Should he be an OC is debatable for sure. But when he was fired from Tech, Oklahoma snatched him as an offensive analyst. Like, he's not a negative in your program. He's just not. Now, as an offensive coordinator, you can make the argument that K-State needs to move on. I hear that, but it's like Brian LePack. Where is he best suited to coach? O-line, tight ends? I don't know, but you ever talk to that guy? He knows what he's doing. So and again, that is another layer here. Does Matt Wells want to take a step back in Manhattan? Most coaches would not, but you never know. Look at Kansas State's basketball staff. Assistants have taken steps back on that staff in the last year or two. It has happened. But the easiest way to sum this up really fits is Avery Johnson. It is not ideal for any quarterback, even if Matt Wells was the worst OC in the world, to have a new coordinator every freaking year. So I'm not advocating for Wells to stay or anything like that, but if Wells does stay, even if he's a co-OC or something like that, the continuity, the knowledge you have of a playbook and all that stuff under that umbrella is in a much better spot from day one of training camp compared to bringing in somebody new who might be better offensive minded, more aggressive, schematics, all that stuff. The X's and O's could be miles better, and that could be an overall positive for Avery and the program and the team. But on day one, you're starting over and you're like looking at a new book in a whole different language, Fitz. So just stuff to keep in mind. I'm not, calling for Wells to be fired. I'm not calling for Wells. He has to stay, but a lot of juggling parts here.
Yeah.
With Matt Wells, man. If you let him go, you're starting from square one, which is something you've done really every year with Avery Johnson. And I doubt Avery loves that part of it.
Well, and let's keep this in mind, that when he goes from Colin Klein to Connor Riley to Matt Wells, the language has stayed the same.
Yeah.
The system has evolved, but it's still the system. And a different guy's making the play call, so it looks a little different. But they add stuff, they subtract stuff, but it's still the general same thing. The words coming in are probably the same. Maybe they've added a few things or subtracted some things, but every OC has his own language, learn from wherever they came from and how they do things. And you bring in someone totally separate, now you're burning down the house and rebuilding, which they haven't done, which you can argue has been a bad thing. It's been incestuous to keep hiring from within, and at times this team looked like it was malformed. It really had. So you bring in a new OC, new system, new way of doing things. Maybe it's good. Chances are it's not going to be good overall. It's going to take a while to get used to. That's good Lord. Let's keep going here. Why am I so talky and mumbly and weird today? I'm not good in the mornings.
You just took a 5-hour shot right before we went live. So
I know
that's it.
It's my brain isn't here yet. Can Fitz and Gilbert both take time, 60 seconds, and attempt to use friggin as many times possible while describing what they're thankful for this week? Fire belly cat. That's a friggin' great question, man. I don't know. I friggin' hate Thanksgiving. I do. I friggin' hate it. I don't want to watch the Cowboys play football. I don't.
Chiefs.
Well, this year it works out great, but most years the friggin' Cowboys. Why would I be thankful for that? I got friends that are turkeys. Ryan Gilbert's a jive turkey.
A what?
Jive turkey.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back. And he's a friggin' big one. And turkeys are persecuted this week every year. They're friggin' just doing their jobs as birds. I'm not timing this. I have no idea. And now they're friggin' delicious. But I think I'm going to go with ham this year. It's also friggin' delicious. I don't know. You got to do better than that, friggin' Ryan Gilbert.
So a jive turkey is a dated American slang insult for a person who is dishonest, unreliable, insincere, or foolish. What did I ever do to you, man? I'm going to say I'm thankful for Cole Carmody on our staff. Recruiting editor does a great job. I'm thankful for Ethan and his coverage on all sports, and John Grant.
Friggin'.
There you go. I think I mentioned everybody on the staff, didn't I, Fitz? That I'm thankful for.
I love you, Cole. Friggin'. I love you, Gills.
No, you don't.
Friggin'.
No, you don't.
That's the end of this friggin' show. I want everyone to know this and know this true. I did better on that answer than Ryan Gilbert. He mailed it in. He didn't put in the effort. He went through the motions. I got it done.
This has been a GoPowercat.com and Spirit Street production. Please support this show by subscribing to this YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite podcast platform.